Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Live Beyond Average podcast. And we're actually recording on the Perform Right podcast as well today because my dude, Austin Kjergaard, is back in the house.
I'm super pumped to be back. It feels like it's been way too long. Partially on me, my fault, but we were just talking about how we get busy. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited for the topic because we got a lot to talk about. So,
dude, and that's the thing. We're busy. Life is busy, and there's times where we were together all the time.
Yeah.
And there's times where, like, the last 6 months, I don't think we've seen each other in person.
Yeah. We've
for
talked,
the last
but
6 months.
just,
yeah. And we actually haven't even talked that much, but we were just talking about how we didn't judge each other on it.
No.
It's not like we weren't friends. It's just we're busy. We were both busy at our own things. We didn't make it necessarily a top priority to always be talking to each other.
Right.
We had other people that needed our undivided attention or other subjects.
Yep.
And sometimes certain things have to give. Doesn't mean you have to lose friendships, lose relationships. It's just peaks and valleys and different things. And it's okay and you embrace that.
Absolutely.
And a little secret cheers to that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely a seeker's cheer to that.
Austin's first time trying
It
out
is.
the seeker.
It's another embarrassing thing because, again, we haven't seen each other, so I've not been able to try it. Super pumped. It's got lime in it, so I'm happy. I'm grabbing lime. This is an amazing flavor. I'm a fan of lime.
Yeah, you're drinking the palm lime, and I'm actually drinking the new flavor that doesn't come out for another couple weeks. This is if you're listening, the listeners are getting a heads up here. The countryside strawberry. Strawberry with an awesome twist I think you guys are going to love.
Yeah.
So you're going to be seeing this come like the third week of January. It's going to be available.
I love it. I'll be excited to try that one too. Might just take some secret shots after this, but
yeah. Oh, dude, anything goes here, right?
No, like Jordan said, we keep things in perspective. In the last 6 months, he has been just grinding away. Since I've known him, he's always wanted to just be his own boss, and he's done a phenomenal job. And I'll always drop some sort of thing like, "Hey, man, I saw this post. I saw this. It's awesome. You're doing awesome. I'm proud of you. I'm pumped for you." And the same thing for me. I had a lot of things coming up. My wife and I, we did a lot of fitness competitions.
Yeah.
I also got an opportunity with some stuff at work, and still going and grinding to school. And it was kind of like the same thing when we were talking the other night. It was like, man, it's been 6 months. Like, I don't even know where it went. Like, it just felt like it flew by. But
it's been crazy.
We both have talked so much in the past about how we're both like this. We both get tunnel vision, but we both respect each other so much. We're close friends. Jordan was in my wedding. He's like a brother to me. So we always just keep that relationship in perspective. And it's really funny because we could go that long and it's still like, we know like, yo, dude, you're not mad at me. I'm not mad at you. We just get so busy.
Well, yeah, you walked in the door and it was just like we had just hung out last week.
Yeah, that's
like it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's kind of cool. I think we could literally go years and it would be the same thing.
Right.
But yeah, like crazy busy. You just mentioned you and Taylor, your wife, did some fitness competitions, and you guys have been hammered busy with that. How many shows did you guys actually compete in? And you guys actually judged several shows too. Right? So how many total shows in the last 6 months to a year? Because you guys your season has been more like a year.
Yeah, it's been a long time. So backstory, my wife prepped for 16 months and dieted, and then myself for 13. So over a year, like Jordan was saying, and we've been, I think it's 8 or 9 shows total. Taylor competed in 5, I competed in 4.
Jeez.
And then we judged 2 or 3 in between there. And we actually traveled to Chicago, and it wasn't judging, but we had some coaching clients and stuff that.
Okay.
And we just saw an opportunity. We never had time to spend in Chicago. Always do the airport. Oh, we're connecting, and so we drove to be out there because we had a few people who were helping. We knew a group of people, so we were all over the place. We've been to the Bloomington, Minneapolis area twice. Went to Illinois 3-4 different times.
Jeez.
Then out east to Florida for the Universe. It was just a busy time. So, but it was good. We planned ahead. We were like, we have a lot of things that we want to accomplish in our lives going forward, and so we wanted to make 2019 a big fitness goal push for us, and that's just what we did. So,
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you, in doing that, like, you were able to meet so many new friends.
Absolutely.
Like coaching and being coached at the same
Yes.
time. Like you guys were able to. How many new friends do you guys have? I see it on your guys' social all the time. That
Right.
You guys look like you've gotten so much more closer to just a new group of people.
So it's funny you say that, and I'm glad you brought it up. I've mentioned this to some of those individuals. I actually was considering just walking away from the sport recently, just because it seemed like it was getting really cliquey and not the direction that I wanted to be a part of. I got into this because I was a wrestler and I played football, and just I really appreciated the discipline, and I liked seeing the beginning and the end, and I liked doing it for me.
Yeah.
And it seemed like the bodybuilding world was kind of going more, just in a route I just wasn't really a fan of. And it was hard because we are from a small state, so there are people that do compete here, which is nice. I do have people around that I can talk to about that as far as the bodybuilding world. But then it's just in the last like 2 or 3 years, the people that we have met from judging and coaching and just competing in general, it just seems like it's expanded. Like you find that core group of people. That's why you and I have been so close for so long. We have so many of the same core values with fitness and training and coaching and life in general, that it's nice that like going to Chicago or Minneapolis or Florida, like we've been able to meet people that they align with those values, and they're trying to better the industry as a whole as well. And it's not just, false information, only shirtless pictures, skewed stuff. And that was the direction I felt it was going in for a while. And that just maybe is me and what I was seeing. So it was nice to kind of bring that back and just meet other people who have that same drive that you and I have.
Dude, it's refreshing.
Absolutely.
And you have to grow your circle. I mean, after so long, like it's not like when you're starting something brand new and you don't need much.
Right.
Like when you start something brand new, it's like you kind of need yourself, and then you grow a little bit, and you need a little bit of that reinforcement. So maybe you have like a mentor, maybe you just have that person that feeds you some positivity. But like as you grow professionally or personally, I feel like over time, like that inner circle, you're gonna butt a couple people out, bring some new ones in, but over time, like just needs to grow a little bit. And I think that just comes in maturity of allowing more people closer to you and changing enough to be allowed by other people too.
Yeah.
In that sense. And I'm not saying like you're changing yourself. I'm just saying in a sense of growth, personal growth. And like, you need less, but you need more. It's a hard thing to explain. Like, I just feel like you need more of that outside people and new influence to challenge, even just to challenge you.
Yeah. You need people that are
reinforce you,
aligning with your values, chasing what you're chasing, but maybe have more experience or just more advice that they could offer you. Because I've seen the same thing with you. So like when you went and decided you wanted to be your own boss, you took that leap of faith, your group got bigger. Like I see the same thing on your socials. Like, we've got Justin out there in New Mexico, which I've seen the same thing. We've got a lot of different people that I'm seeing that, like, being on the podcast or wherever, like, you have expanded your group. And from what you're saying and from what I can see, it's also people that can give you some different perspectives, but they're also chasing what you're chasing. They're trying to make your industry, this industry, fitness, hunting, everything in general, just better. And so I've seen this, my point is I've seen the same thing with you as well. Since you've taken that leap, you've expanded, and yes, it's with more people, but it's with more people that are aligning with your values, your dream, and your vision. And I think that's how it really should be. Like you said, like you just learn that from maturity. It's, okay, well, I've tried this and I've tried that. I've worked with this and that individual and it just didn't click, but this person does, and that makes sense because, we vibe off the same things, same reason probably why you and I can go so many months and barely talk, because we know that we're both hustling and grinding, and if we ever need anything, we can always reach out and we're always going to be there. So
So it's funny that you say that, because like I didn't look at it that way towards myself.
Right.
Like I was noticing it with your journey.
Yeah.
And then like you were like, oh yeah, you say that, I noticed the same thing with yours. It's funny because I didn't look at mine like that.
Right.
But you're right. Like that's interesting. It's just interesting how we just, you view things a certain way, or you don't view yourself like that. It's interesting.
Yeah, and I think the same thing is, Jordan and I, our biggest passions, as you guys know, is fitness and hunting, and Jordan's done a phenomenal job of really bringing those two together, and in my opinion, he's the pioneer to that, because when I first met him, I was like, it'd be awesome to incorporate hunting and fitness, and then like 3 years later I meet this guy who had this vision, season 1 run to gun, and now is doing these big things that he's doing right now. And so it's obviously a passion for the both of us, and people get busy and tend to push one thing off to the side, and I can give 2 examples of that.
Yeah.
One is fitness. We know when people get busy, I just don't have the time to work out, I don't have the time to just, well, hunting, and there's people, same thing. I just dieted for a year. Hunting was not right there on my priority list. I want it to be. I love it. To me, there's no greater feeling than being in a field and just peace, quiet,
right,
nature, everything. Like that is my ideal thing. Is wherever we're out hunting and we just have that. There's just that moment, like nothing's quite moving yet.
Oh, dude.
But there's just that calmness about. Like I wouldn't trade that for the world. But I had aligned it with something else. And now, I'm going to shift gears a little bit.
Yeah.
And so that's one example where even hunting can get moved aside with life or something. But fitness, we know, gets pushed aside quite a bit. And so that's where I think what we've been talking about kind of gets connected, is just keeping things in perspective and not losing the sight of your health, and not losing the sight of like what your end goal is. I know you've worked with a lot of people on that too.
And you talk about end goal of things. Like for me this year, it was really funny because I took... Back in June 1st, took running gun full time.
Yep.
My own boss, you would think that I would have hunted more this year being my own boss than ever. Mm-hmm. And I actually hunted less this year, less days out in the field.
That's crazy.
And did less hunts than I have the last 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of my perspective on things, on where I knew I needed to be to accomplish and be successful in the main goal.
Yep.
What wasn't to be gone all the time this year.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I had to prioritize to keep my perspective correct. Like I had to prioritize being at home more with my wife,
mm-hmm.
being at home more with my kids, being at home more just to focus on my business, right? How am I bringing in income? Because now I have to provide my own income, right?
Yep.
And so just balancing all those things and prioritizing, hunting, being away from home was not in the top 3.
Right.
And so it was like, okay, it's still a huge part of my business,
yes.
what I need to do, right, to create content, to do everything. So it still has to be done.
Yep.
But it was like, okay, I don't have to do these days. I don't have to do these hunts.
Yeah.
I don't have to have a successful hunt in order to have this film, whatever it may be. And it was like, you just start scratching them off. Like, it's not the end of the world. And I really started just finding some like new self-awareness in the sense of there was a lot of days I was planning on being gone,
mm-hmm.
a lot of Friday, Saturday, Sundays. And I was like, dude, I really don't want to go.
Right.
And so I started having this self-awareness of like, I feel like I have to go versus I want to go.
Yes.
In the past it was always like, dude, I want to go hunting.
Yep.
But there was a deeper self-awareness in myself of, I actually really wanted to just be home with my family.
Right.
And focusing on other things. But I felt this need that I had to be gone, and I finally figured it out. It's like, no, dude, you don't have to be anywhere.
Right.
Like, you need to be right here where you're sitting.
Yes.
And so it's just a growth in that sense of being able to like hear yourself, listen to yourself, and then actually figure out what you're feeling.
Yes.
Which is a hard thing. Like, you don't learn those things unless you start spending time alone. Like, you have to spend time alone actually evaluating yourself and listening to yourself and figuring out why it is you feel the way you feel
mm-hmm.
in order to dictate what you're hearing.
And
it's hard. Like,
yes.
It takes time. That was kind of my 2019. I look back on my 2019, how difficult it was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wouldn't trade any of that in the world. I was just talking to a buddy on the phone last night about it. He went through the same thing. And it was like, man, like, we wouldn't trade it. Like, totally needed that. There's been more self-growth within the last 6 months to 12 months.
Yep.
That just makes you grow as a person and brings you back to a much better perspective on the world or on yourself.
Yeah, and it made you more aware of what your priorities were at that point in time, and that I think is extremely relatable. And I love that you shared that. Like, so you would think he would go hunting more often, but it was like, no, this is the business. I gotta like prioritize. Like, I want to go hunting. It's still important, but I gotta find a way. I gotta find that balance. And I think with that being the new year, I think people struggle with that the most. I mean, everybody jokes like, weight loss, and everyone's got the New Year's fitness goals, and they're all going to be gone by February, March. Well, there's a reason, I think, for that, and I think it's because people forget to keep it in perspective, like you said. People forget that, I need to be at the gym, by 6 a.m. I've never gotten up at 6 a.m. in my life, but I got to be there at 6 a.m. because that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I got to do this diet because that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I got to be doing this workout because it's what I'm supposed to be doing. When really it's like, is that meant for you? And if it is, great, then you should be able to adhere to that just fine and not be one of those people that fall off by February or March. But if it's not truthfully for you, then why are you doing it? Because that's one of the biggest reasons people fall off is they can't stick to adhere to anything, whether it's fitness or nutrition or whatever. And so Jordan said something to me that I think is super important, and it's asking, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel like I have to do this? Why do I have to feel? And so if you can't give legitimate answers to those questions, then that might be why you're having a high chance of falling off. If you're answering things like, I'm doing this truthfully because I have high blood pressure, or I can't get up the stairs without breathing heavily,
right.
I'm achy, I got pains and aches, if you can say you're doing it for those reasons to minimize those things, then great. Then the next questions are going to be things like, okay, what is approachable? What's more realistic for me? Is 6 a.m. or maybe it's noon? Is it a full hour workout? Is it 15 minutes? What is it? Can I walk? Can I do what? I think people with the New Year's and why people fall off is they forget to ask those hard questions, ask the deep meaning as to why they have these thoughts in their head and where these questions are coming from. And so I just think that it's a good point to bring up. And I know you deal with a lot of people with training and coaching. Have you had any experience in talking to people like that? Have you had just people open up and say, I'm doing it for these reasons, and do you think that they have stuck around longer or not? What's your insight?
That's actually that's funny that you just asked that, because I have found, for me, at least the people that I have coached over the last several years, I've found that there's been a nice swing in the reasons why people are exercising or trying to eat right in the last couple of years, and what it was my first 5-6 years in the industry. Whereas most of the people I trained or that were approaching me was dude, I just want I have a vacation in 3 months,
yep.
Or dude, I want to do a show, or I want to get ripped, whatever. It was always these vanity metrics with it.
Yeah.
And it's really weird because the last 18 months to 2 years, I found this switch, and almost every single person that I train, online train, or one-on-one train in person, their reasons have been dude, I really actually just want to work on my health, get healthier, and I know I'll lose some fat along the way with that.
Absolutely.
And I'm thank you. That is what I've been trying to preach for, if you just focus on being a healthier person,
yep,
building consistency with it over time, the result will be, you will lose fat, you will probably start looking the way you want to look, feeling the way you want to feel.
Mm-hmm.
I talk to people about now why I train. I did some shows, you helped me do some shows way back in the past, absolutely loved it, still completely respect it because it's insane.
Yeah.
For me, I don't lift now to look good on stage. Right? I don't lift to have a certain shape to my It is purely I tell people I exercise now because I want to be in shape, I want to be fit, I want to be healthy, I want to be able to go do my hunts that I want to go do. And the way I look is a byproduct, and it's just a benefit.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Sweet, great benefit to just exercising.
Yep.
And so hearing that switch from so many of my clients now, having that more of that perspective on I actually have a handful of clients that are all in their 60s, 50s, and 60s. Really cool. And I've heard multiple times from them of, want to be around for my grandkid's wedding. They all have grandkids, and they want to be at their wedding.
Yes.
And so that's 18 years on the road, 15 years on the road for them, because they have either newborns or 5-year-old grandkids.
Yep.
And that right there is a complete perspective switch on health. It's not about them, their health. Yes. It is about them in the grand scheme of things, but they're putting a ultimate motivator that isn't going to change for them.
Yes.
It's always staying the same. It's not, I need to lose another % body fat.
Right.
Or I need to gain an inch on my arms.
Yes.
That's an 18, 20-year goal, which completely is going to probably change their health and their lifestyle anyway over that time.
Yeah.
And is going to extend their life. I mean, that's a lifestyle switch, a legitimate lifestyle switch. It's a legitimate perspective switch.
Yes, and they're, like you said, they're going to be doing that for the long haul because it's for somebody else. And so to kind of I love that Jordan brought that up because I have a combination. I have people that I train for bodybuilding shows
Yep.
and powerlifting shows because
You specialize in that yourself.
Yeah, I love that. I look at somebody's body and I love that they want to change their physique and compete. I think that's awesome. But I also am very big on function and mobility. You know, and that was something that I wanted to change. Like I know a lot of competitors, they were lacking in that. So I'm like, well, powerlifting and bodybuilding, they can teach each other things. So that's what I try to do with a lot of my groups. However, I also work with people also in their 60s, and you know, I love it because it's the same thing. They're like, I just want to be able to stand up and not ache. I want to be able to, you know, I have one lady that she said that she knows she's working for here. She can feel the difference. She's like, I went and shoveled our entire driveway. Wasn't tired. I didn't get sore the next day. She's like, I can do this and that. And it's just the moving side. And so I love that because they're doing it for those reasons where they're trying to move and stay active.
Right.
But I get the vanity reasons too, because like when we're talking New Year's, I understand like people want to get in this, like I want to lose 20 pounds, I want to have that six pack.
Totally get it.
If the vanity, if that's what you want and that's what's going to allow you to continue and stay moving forward and not fall off, that's phenomenal. Because I deal with people that when they come, they're like, I want to do a show. That's my goal for the year. That's great. I'm not going to teach you how to just do a show. I'm going to teach you how to do a show, how to move properly, and how to make this a lifestyle, not just this is my end goal, and then once I do the show, I'm going to stop, and I'll maybe get back into the gym. You know, because it's the same thing. Like, you know, because people start off the New Year's, and they're like, I might want to compete, I want to do this, but then they do the competition, and they're like, I just don't know anymore. I did that. It was the bucket list thing. And again, I'm not nagging or complaining if that's what you want to do, but I don't work with people like that typically. I work with people that are willing to listen and learn how to make this a lifestyle, whether it's, okay, you want to get better abs, that's fine, but how can we get better abs and make this fit a lifestyle so where like you can get your kids pumped about fitness?
And
you know, like how can we bring it full circle?
And how to transition, from that goal back into other, you know, when you're not prepping for a show.
Yes.
Like how to come full circle with that and not just have this end date and it's done.
Right.
Because we've seen that, the struggle that people have. They hit your end date, whether it be a vacation, whether that be a show, no matter what. Like at the end of the day, the goal doesn't matter as much. Like we're not judging what your goal is.
Exactly.
What we're saying is that having that perspective on how to transition and see the big picture, and not just stop or have that lull of, because there's that like posts like. It's almost like honeymoon phase is over, like kind of feeling after a show
way to put it.
or after a vacation, and just like working with somebody like Austin, where you're teaching the big picture, you're teaching it all, how to transition through it all, how to mentally prepare for the week after the show, the day after the show, the month after the show or vacation. So it just brings things into perspective on like what's truly important, what health actually means, what fitness actually means, and that it doesn't stop at a goal date.
No, it doesn't stop at, I lost 20 pounds. It doesn't stop at, I was able to pick myself up off the floor. Like, these are great markers and great achievements, but the biggest thing, like Jordan and I have been talking about this whole time, is keeping things in perspective, and the perspective is your health and your fitness levels, so you can continue to perform daily functions properly without hurting yourself, and so you can live longer and just have better longevity. And then Jordan again brought it up earlier, like, what is your why behind this? You know, find out what your why is, keep your schedule and your life in perspective, and keep that why in perspective, and just don't lose sight, because right now it's an easy time to lose sight. It's easy to see pictures or videos of people achieving the goals that you want and wanting to go that route, but you need to ask yourself if you're willing to go that route, and if that's the route for you, and if that's going to allow you to stick with it, you know what I mean? And that all falls under keeping things in perspective. Yeah,
and when you're seeing other people that you're watching be successful, not getting down on yourself, because guess what? Their success isn't taking away from what success you can have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
The world is big.
It is.
The world is huge.
Yes.
There's plenty of opportunity and success out there for all of us. Doesn't mean we're all going to have success.
Right.
But it's not stealing from your own successful. So, like, I don't know, I'm on this big kick of, like, all through 2019 of, like, seeing other people and being happy for them.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to carry that over to 2020. And I shouldn't say just a year-to-year thing, just lifestyle. Like, we all need to bring back the old school mindset of being happy for people. Like, it's cool to be happy for people, man. Like, it's a lot easier to just go through social media and just be like, oh, sweet, that person accomplished that. Oh, they did that. Like, versus, like,
oh, they're doing what I want to do, and I'm not there.
Yeah,
so I'm just going to say something.
Or, I don't feel negative about it. Like, no, just
Yeah.
be like, dude, that's great that they did that. Like, that's
Yes.
that's cool, and then just keep scrolling. Like,
Yeah.
dude, it's a lot easier.
It is.
You know?
I mean, you see people's
happy
personal
for people.
journeys. Absolutely, be happy. I see Jordan posting stuff all the time. I've said this in the very beginning of this podcast. Like, watched him when he came through the doors at the supplement shop I was working at the time, and we talked hunting and fitness for like an hour, and he's like, I want to do my own thing, and I'm scrolling through, and he's doing his own thing. He's killing it. You know, he's crushing it.
It was like 2011, dude.
That was insane. Yeah,
It's crazy.
That is crazy. So, but I mean, I'm genuinely happy for him because I know how much time and effort, and so if I feel that way for him, it should be no different than a stranger. If I'm scrolling through Instagram, I see some stranger, he's doing something, or she's doing something that I would like to do, rather than being like, whatever about that. Like, should be genuinely happy because I know they put in some sort of effort similar to what you had to achieve the same thing, and I know I'm going to have to put in some effort as well to achieve whatever I want to achieve.
Yeah, very seldom do these good things happen unless somebody worked for them.
Yes.
Yeah, people are going to get lucky once in a while, but for the most part, if somebody succeeded in something or accomplished something, like, they had to work for it.
Yeah.
Be happy about it. They put in some time for it.
It just seems faster and short-lived because we just put it out there.
Yeah.
You know, we don't see the whole behind the scenes.
You might not have followed along on the last 8 years of their journey.
Right.
You know?
100%
Like, that's the truth.
It is.
I got nothing else, man.
I got nothing else.
I think that was good. You just
agree.
got, it was like you didn't miss anything. You jumped
I know.
back on
You
and
just
you
jumped
just
back
got
on.
after it.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on.
Of course.
I'm excited. I think the Seeker's kicking in, so I'm going to keep drinking it.
Extra focus mode and engaged. So, thanks for jumping on the show today, you guys. Of course, we always appreciate if you happen to be listening to it, taking a screenshot of your phone and posting it up on your social media. All those little things from a small business standpoint means so much to us, and maybe allow somebody who hasn't heard the show yet, maybe it'll allow them to hear it and be able to share it with their friends or impact their life in a positive way. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.